They'll be calling you a radical. Kevin Blanch, back to Fukushima. I want to talk about this report that ABC and contemporaries media, the mainstream liar, evil cabal, the state-run media has putting out into the domain, talking about this snake-like robot. This is a very, very big story. One of the biggest stories in the whole Fukushima thesis. And the reason is, if this is true, which, how do we know if any of it's true? Because that's all they do is lie, 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 tell me lies, tell me sweet little lies. If this is true, what they say, that this will be the first time that a robot's even in there, and anyone's in there, but it has been too hot, which we know they've tried many, many robots, and it has not worked. They're saying, now, they're saying that if they could get in there and get a look at it, maybe they'd get at it in a decade or so. If this is true, which I got a hunch maybe it is, how would we know? All they've done is lied. The only thing been taken care of at Fukushima is you. People forget in the early days, I stood right here. My favorite video I still did on Fukushima is that early one. I go on, going off about, if you believe the media, remember the stories of Jessica Lynch. If you believe the media, remember the stories of I am Pat fucking Tillman. All this stuff. We've been lied and lied and lied and lied to. 2003, I was a professor. Had an amazing career. I was going ballistic about the lead up to the war. And I says, Brian Williams is lying, state-run media, it's all propaganda. It's being orchestrated. They gaslight it. 12 years later, it comes out, oh, no biggie, after the treasury's been looted. The country's been annihilated. We've lock, stock, barrel. I mean, the damage that was caused by those lies, it's the greatest damage in human history to the earth, to the people. The loss of life, the radiation, white phosphorus on the Garden of Eden for time and all eternity. The military-industrial complex gone crazy. But if this is true, this is what this means. This is the worst freaking heartbreaking, really. You've got to think that maybe the Department of Energy, which is running the whole thing at Fukushima, as I stood in front of the White House when they retooled it. I was right there as they went in. You're thinking, hey, maybe they really are under there on the backside. Maybe they do have a handle on this. We have hope. But after reading this, I think they have no hope. I think all they've done the entire time, they've used literally thousands and thousands, many of thousands of workers on the backside. I got reports that over 8,000 of them were dead freaking 2 years ago. Credible sources. I get credible sources. So we have nuclear fission, China syndrome going on 3 reactors, which is really, we have spent fuel in 4, 5, and 6, which creates a China syndrome of its own right. So we have multiple China syndromes going. I mean, I did an interview the other day, and a guy tried to tell me that Chernobyl was worse than Fukushima. This is how pathetic and stupid the American, and they think, oh, it's not going to kill you. It's going to kill you. The vast majority of you, this is going to kill you. I'm serious. It's going to kill you. Go through what I went through. How many people can actually do that? Like my doctor says, 1 in a million. These leukemias and these brutal freaking cancers, they're so hardcore. Remember, these are cancers that are not, as horrific as breast cancer is, and they're horrific. Cervical cancer, prostate cancer, they can gut you and cut you out. We're talking cancers that are 90+%, 98, 99, 97, curable, compromise your whole life big time, and they're brutal battles, but we're talking blood cancer. We're talking cancer survival rates of less than 20%, less than 10%, less than 5%. The kind I have, very much less than 1%. That's what so many people are going to get, and you're not going to survive. It's going to kill you. What I went through the last 4 years, I was thinking about it this morning. I don't know how I did it. I couldn't do it again. And I recorded this history as my place and time, but what this tells me, they have no clue. That all they've done the entire time is push it into the Pacific Ocean. Now we have the readings in the rainstorm in Los Angeles the last 2 days, 3 times the so-called background levels. But let's get real what they did with the background levels. The Obama administration's answer to this whole thing is he was propped up by the nuclear cartel. I want to quote Morgan about Teddy Roosevelt. This is people People are still trying to identify the problem. This is how pathetic. They're still watching documentaries and going, oh, the Illuminati, the banking cartel, the Rothschilds are running the world. And it's always been this way. Crutch, 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 crutch. If that's the case, then why do we have the strongest middle class in world history from 1945 to 1980? Because it becomes about men and integrity and choices, and everybody gave up. I could prove it. You know, you got 8,000 people in Oakland show up for the fracking thing. Well, that's great, you know. Fracking, I mean, the Keystone Pipeline, what do we need to hand more of these, you know, extorters, British Petroleum, sent off the Gulf, annihilating the Gulf? Why do we need to hand them more? But, yeah, Fukushima, nobody will show up. Nobody will talk about it. They just look at tranquilizer. Fukushima is the greatest ecological catastrophe. Not going to happen. Happened. Your chances of being killed by Fukushima are so high. The Pacific Ocean is being genocided right. The emperor has no clothes. Right under your nose. You know, the mystery goo. You know, don't you love it? They got the squid all die. I talked to a long-time activist on things. It ain't red tide, never seen. The sea lions dying. The starfish gone. The freaking orcas not breeding. I mean, over and over and over. The eagles dying right here. No one cares. Incredible climate change. The most dramatic climate cycles we've had in the history of this earth. The emperor has no clothes. So if this story is true, which I think it is true, then that tells me this is for time and all eternity. This is the greatest ecological catastrophe in human history by 1 billion times, and it will change humanity for time and all eternity. And you got to understand the dynamic of play inside Japan. Come on, please. The Japanese and that freaking system, they've repressed their people for centuries. You know, they believe in an elitist system. They believe in a royal elitist system in which they were colonized by the American system. There are plenty of people that have tried to protest, but they're more in the dark than anyone. Put you in jail if you're even talking about it. So it's a sun. Here's how you think about it. This is the reality. Bringing star power to Earth at Livermore. That's what they say there. I protested there. They have created at least 3 suns. They're underground. So what has been the answer? To knock the energy down with water and push it into the Pacific Ocean. So they're killing the Pacific Ocean, and then the Pacific Ocean, the marine layer rolls into the ecology here, the radiation. The Obama administration simply raised the limits dramatic by thousands of times on children. By thousands of times. Gina McCarthy crashed Radnet. Radnet, that we paid up all the money to pay the Dragon Slayer. I'll put up, you know, I'll keep going with this, but, you know, I've come to the conclusion that this is a worthless cause. It's not a worthless cause. Is it a hopeless cause? For our generation, absolutely. These baby boomers and dogmatic and knee-jerkers, you know, I've thought about disabling comments the whole time. I look back, I probably wish I would have in the inception, but I left them up because I spend half my time, you know, policing freaking lunatics out there. But I'm simply recording history. That's what I've done, because nobody else is willing to record history and the reality, and fighting for my life, full of leukemia. It's going to give you leukemia. It's going to give you leukemia. This will give 1 million people leukemia. I stood right here. Day it happened. Every day. Called it in exact detail. Then I get leukemia 7 months later, fighting for my life. Watch. Then, you know, I was a finance guy. I've come to the conclusion people don't want the truth. I was going through some videos arguing with some people this morning that I put up my portfolio 4 years ago. I was getting ready to go back in the hedge fund industry. And here it is right here. And it's all over the internet. And I had $10,000, $100,000, $5,000 bets all over with people. That they said gold was going to $5,000, silver was going to... I've been so Cassandra, like I turned $3,000 into $700,000 of real money on my own right here on YouTube. It would have been many, many millions of dollars. I had 4,400 shares of Tesla stock. There's videos right here all over. It says sell your gold at 19 to the day, buy Tesla at 14, 15, 16. I had bets. Apple's done at 200. I said no, it's not. You know, it's going to keep going. They have slaves. I think, you know, they even was saying buy Microsoft. You know, oh God, that boring stuff. Yeah, look what it's done. In the meantime, all these incredible gains and all this. I mean, I look back on it. 4 years of my life. It is Cassandra. I have been Cassandra. Like, I go through these videos. It's staggering. Now, my place and time carved out, my leukemia, wow. if I wouldn't have got leukemia, I'd be worth probably, you know, 10, 20 million, maybe more than that. You know, I forked over. I turned 3,000 to 700,000 into the bone marrow. I had just bought a whole bunch of Apple 480 derivative calls on the April. I paid $30 a piece for them right before I got sick. Thousands and thousands of dollars. When I did YouTube, there's YouTube videos showing to it when the stock was $3.90. They were $30 a piece. By April, they were worth $12,000 a piece, and I had hundreds of them. But I had, you know, I had to fork everything over when I got sick. I did videos saying short silver at $47 to the day, short gold at $1,900 to the day, short oil and buy it back at $44 to the. I mean, it's staggering. Staggering. Buy Tesla at 14 and say, there's guys, kids at Berkeley that bought freaking Tesla on my freaking advice. You know, I never missed it. Never missed a call. Not one single. It's impossible. What I've been able to do in 4 years is impossible. Absolutely impossible. To survive cancer the way I have. It's been impossible. I look back on it. I mean, it blows my mind. It's almost freaky. But, you know, none of that matters really. You know, I've always understood it was the environment at the top of the heap, and I've understood my gig. And, you know, this will be viewed in history, and YouTube, this incredible genre that has been so abused. It's outrageous. You know, I love environmentalists. How can you be environmentalist when you're not even in the environment? You know, what a path. What a path. What a path I've walked. You know, and I've been able to record it, you know, for this incredible genre. Where do we go from here? I don't know, but this is heartbreaking to me. I find it hopeless now. Yeah, I think it is hopeless, the Fukushima cause. Will it completely kill the Pacific Ocean? I've never said that. It will never completely kill the Pacific Ocean all the way, but it's already killed so much of it. It's already killed so many people. People are sitting around at 65, 55, 70, think they're going to live to, no, they're not. You know, so many people are going to be mowed down the next few years, and, you know, they think there's a cure for cancer. Oh, I'm healthy, I'm strong, I can overcome it, because this is the most arrogant, dogmatic, this is the most pathetically ignorant populace in the history of humanity. And that was my PhD, post-ignorance. I was trying to prove it. Why? You know, I'd go into my thesis on economics and tariffs, but fat, drunk, and stupid is no way to go through life. How has the American populace gone through life? Fat, drunk, and stupid. You know, so to their own death, to their own dogma. And I think it's very, very sad. The egotistical baby boomer, and the echo boomer's even worse. They're so pathetically stupid. It's pathetic. It's pathetic. You know, and they think they're smart and they're stupid. They don't know fourth grade. I mean, they're all hopping up watching YouTube videos of Jesse Ventura telling you that Abraham Lincoln's assassination was a conspiracy. They skipped the third grade. They're still trying to identify the problem. I mean, there's solutions, but America's too dogmatic. This is heartbreaking, heartbreaking to me. The first robot, they're saying even get a look at it. So that tells me they don't even know it. They have no look. So we have 3 red suns. We have nuclear fission pointing. So it is everything that I've ever said that it was. You know, hoping that it wasn't. Hoping for one time that, you know, Kevin Blanch, the offspring of Cassandra, was wrong. But you know the story of Cassandra. No, she stood on integrity. I'm not sleeping with you. No way. What, just for power and wealth, like all you females do? She wouldn't do it. Well, you'll be cursed being see the future, and no one will listen to you, and all will your offspring for time and all eternity. Kevin Blanch, Cassandra's offspring. Not debatable. How is it possible? 1,400 videos, never miss it. Call silver to the day, gold to the day, the derivative map to the day, Tesla to the day, Fukushima to the day, every day. I mean, running right off the gut, the intuitive mind. Wow, very sad. They have no handle on this. This is completely 100%, 1,000,000,000% out of control. This is the greatest story in human history. I told it, and it's recorded in time and all history, and it doesn't matter what your opinion of is me. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's done. It is chiseled in stone, gilded in gold, casted in concrete for time and all eternity to stand. Who killed the earth? Who committed this freaking incredible, horrific genocide? You, the populace of America, the baby boomer. You did it. You did it on your dogma and your lazy, fat, drunken, stupid ways. I blame the American populace. I really do. Stand tuned.